Well, if you guys want to grab a handout and a pen, you can take some notes while we're starting to talk. Babe, do you want one? Yeah, okay. Okay, well, welcome to Mind Your Brain. Love, love, love talking about this class because we all need better control over our brain health, whether it's physical health or actual mental thoughts. We're going to cover all tonight and talk about all of the topics. A little bit about us is that reason I love this topic so much is because we've really, really, really been working on it over the past couple of years. We have gone from, especially myself, I'll speak for myself, my husband has his own stories and learning along the journey. I just used to be such a negative, outspoken, crazy person who never thought before they talked or really thought much about growth mindset, and I didn't know what that really meant. And then we started going to seminars and learning as we joined this business, and it's drastically changed everything for our family. Gone from a place where we had no vision because we didn't think about things to learning how to really train our brains to think the way that we want and that is going to benefit us. So I love teaching it because it's just such good skills to know, and it's actually something we've taught our kids. So at the end, we're going to do a little activity where you're actually going to experience retraining your brain and how to use oils with it. And we've taught our girls for the last couple of years how to do this. So we're setting them up for success in their emotional well-being, right? To be able to know that from your childhood, oh my gosh, I can only imagine the things God's lining up for them to use them in their abilities, and I just can't wait to watch it. So we just love this topic because we've been on this beautiful journey of bettering our mind physically and emotionally through the past couple of years. So before every class, I always have to give the disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to treat you, except for maybe him because I own him. Love you, babe. I just absolutely love this stuff, and we've gained so much knowledge in our trainings over the past couple of years that we come to share it with y'all. So thanks. So thoughts have energy, and positive thoughts are super powerful. And whether you believe in the Bible or a different modality, all of them say thoughts are power, right? Scripture says that. Dalai Lama said it, everyone tells you how much power that our thoughts have over our well-being, what we think we are, really. Like if we have very negative, horrible thoughts all of the time, it's going to reflect in our life. And I like to tell this little story about us because I used to be that person. I never was really aware of the thoughts that went through my head, ever. I was not like in tuned enough to ever like stop what I'm doing, but listen to what's going through my head. And my mom always used to joke that if something bad was going to happen, it was always going to happen to Michelle. And it was true back then. Oh my gosh. All the phones would break, the computers would break, everything around me was breaking, and it was just always felt like it was falling apart, literally. Until I started really grasping what was going through my mind, understanding and seeing how negative the thoughts going through my head were about myself, about other people. I'll admit it, horrible thoughts all of the time. But in reality, we all have them. I don't know if you've ever sat and really thought about your thoughts. We all have negative thoughts. It's human nature. But what we do with those negative thoughts and how much we let them control our life is in our control. A lot of people like to say we don't have control over our minds and our bodies. When in reality, we 100% do. We just have to be trained in order to take control of them. So we've experienced so much change in our physical health and just the abundance of our life as we've shifted and really being obedient and learning. And we're going to go over all kinds of it tonight. From the physical structure, health of your brain, because that plays a huge role in it. If we don't have a healthy brain, we don't have much of health at all. And then we're going to talk about how to retrain your thoughts and really understand where they come from and how to retrain them. It's really fun and it's really simple. It just takes consistency to make it happen. So there is a doctor I've learned so much from. He was just, I don't know, I don't even know how many videos from him, but he talks about the physical brain, and he's who taught me most of what we're going to talk about for the physical shift in it. But the thing about our mind is that the more we think a thought, the easier it is for our brain to go there. So I like to explain it like a train. Just think about all of the thought patterns in your head are a train track. And the more that you take this train of thought, negative or positive, the more your brain is going to take that train track. It's just the natural path that's going to take in your brain. So for example, like if you have a thought pattern of I am unworthy and I am horrible and just that negative thinking, every time you get stressed, your brain is naturally going to go hop on that train and take it until you learn to reroute it. The beautiful thing is we can reroute it. We can cut off that brain pattern and shift it to somewhere else. It just takes awareness and mindfulness to shift it over. Because once we create this new train track where you're literally going to tell your brain to stop. You're like, stop thinking that. I yell at my brain all the time when I catch myself. Like, it's usually in the quiet stuff, right? When we're doing the dishes, when we're alone in bed or driving down the highway. Those are when the thoughts really start to spin. And I literally will yell, stop, out loud. I don't care if anyone's around. Sometimes people think I'm crazy. The kids think I'm crazy a lot. That's okay. But it stops the thought. I don't want it to have that kind of control over my life, because what happens is it spins into what we call straw stories. Like one negative thought in one situation, we start creating the story around that is not even actually true. I don't know if you've ever caught yourself doing that before. Once I started realizing my thought patterns and stopping them, I was seeing the pattern of the story that I was creating on something that had never happened. So for example, like if you go text somebody and it's like a really emotional and important message and they don't immediately text or call you back right away, your mind starts to play tricks on you. It starts to create these stories of why they're not calling you back. Are they mad at me? Did I do something? All of these things in different situations start. And if you're someone who ever experienced depression or anxiety, that is what stems from it. It's that straw story continuously starts to spin, and then you've created this whole dramatic scenario in your head, which actually feels real to your body, and just continued on with it. And I've caught myself so many times, and even like dwelling on, I'll be sitting there thinking, and like some stressful moment triggered a past event and an emotion in me, that my brain starts taking that track back down to that thought, back down to that time where this thing happened, and you start replaying that whole story back in your head. And I'm like, this was like 5 years ago. Why am I even thinking about this again? But again, that train track is naturally tuned to go there. We just get the ability, and I'm going to teach you tonight how to cut it off, because you just simply tell it to stop and replace it with a better thought. So at the end, we're going to do an activity where we are going to smell some oils and reframe an emotion and a thought pattern that we are having, because it's super simple, but it's not easy. I don't know if you know the difference between simple and easy, but simple means it's not really hard to do. It not being easy is because it takes consistency. So to retrain our brain for certain thought patterns, it takes 63 days for your brain to form a new habit. So in order for you to have a new habit in anything, whether it's eating or mental capacity, it takes 63 days of consistent work. So it's not going to happen overnight. I didn't retrain my brain overnight, and it's still not fully trained. Like I said, I still catch myself finding these moments of time where I'm just like spinning these stories, and all of this stuff is replaying in my head that really has no purpose in serving my life well. So we want to get them out and stop them. And it just takes work, because 63 days seems like a long time, but the more you create the habit, like for me, I do reminders for everything. I take advantage of technology, and every phone has a reminder app of some sort. iPhone, it actually is called Reminders. I don't know what it is on Android. But when I'm trying to retrain some kind of thought that I see, or some kind of emotion I see consistently coming out in me, so like say, like all of a sudden fear is creeping back and I'm fearful of speaking up or presenting in front of people again, or whatever it may be, I will set a reminder on my phone for an opposite affirmation. And I'm going to teach you in a little bit how to do this. So every single day that reminder pops up, so I sit and read it. Affirmations work. I'm not sure if you guys have ever used affirmations. We used to think like they were voodoo nonsense. Like that doesn't actually work. It's actually scientifically proven. Dr. Caroline Leaf is someone I've learned a great amount of stuff in retraining the brain and how long it takes and the science behind it. She's a neuroscientist. And Elizabeth Erickson is who I've learned all of the essential oil side of reprogramming your brain from. So there's a lot of science that actually backs affirmations and speaking words and thought. It's not crazy like we used to think it was. We do a lot of things we used to think were crazy and have greatly benefited our life now. It's good. So using the opposite affirmation and those intentions really do reprogram your brain and help you just find better purpose and balance. And because when your brain is in positivity, it's so much easier to go through life, because trials are going to come, right? The Bible tells us trials are coming. And if we don't have the mindset to take them on, they overwhelm us. So we're going to work on that tonight. We are going to learn to retrain our brain in multiple ways. So Dr. Amen taught me something called Bright Minds. It's an acronym to remember for all the things that you need to do to keep your brain physically healthy. So the things to do to make sure you don't get Alzheimer's and dementia, because sadly the statistic in America is every 1 in 2 people, 50% of Americans are going to get Alzheimer's by the age of 85. That's crazy. And there's different reasons. Some factors are not treatable and preventable, but most of them are. Most of them stem from a deficiency or a heavy metal overload or blood flow issue. And we're going to cover all of that right now. Because just remember Bright Minds. That's the acronym, and each one of them is going to stand for something, and I'm going to go over each one of them. So in Bright Minds, the first beginning B starts with blood flow. Dr. Amen has a whole clinic. He's helped. He does a lot of work with NFL because post-concussion and all of that brain injury, for a long time, they thought this stuff was permanent. They thought you could not heal your brain. That once all of this stuff has happened, you're just kind of stuck there. But in reality, you are not stuck with the brain you have. You get the ability, in most cases, to benefit and change it. And he found in all of his studies that blood flow was the #1 cause of Alzheimer's. And there's a lot of things that actually restrict our blood flow and our general health, right? Caffeine is one, and so many people love caffeine. But it actually restricts your blood flow. So if you are having troubles with your memory and thinking, caffeine is something you really want to get out of your diet and get your blood back flowing. Look at my husband, because he drinks way too much coffee. He at least supplements some of it now with healthy green tea caffeine and some of the yummy Ningxia products that we drink. Nicotine also restricts blood flow. Hypertension restricts blood flow. So many people have high blood pressure for whatever reason. It could be genetic, it could be food, health related, but hypertension literally is a blood flow circulatory issue. And if you're not getting that blood flow through your body, it's not making it to your brain properly. Things like heart disease as well, not exercising, anyone with erectile dysfunction, most people don't know that that's actually a blood flow issue. So we always tell a lot of men and women, if your husband has this, it is the number one sign in men of a blood flow problem. That includes going to your brain. So there's a lot of supplements and stuff you can help to increase your circulation. We'll cover a few of those just to get you thinking about the things you can do. The R in bright is for retirement aging. There's always a saying, right? When you stop learning, your brain starts dying. And it is actually true. A lot of people get the retirement syndrome where they're not, in a job where they're using their brain all day, every day. You're not on a computer. You're not thinking. You're not processing. And the older you get, the less you do those kind of things for a lot of people, right? You want to retire and enjoy life. But it gives you what he calls retirement aging syndrome, where the lack of using your brain actually decreases your memory. So he tells people, if you're retired and have like a leisurely lifestyle, make sure you're still engaging your brain, doing crossword puzzles, crocheting, anything that uses left brain, right brain. Or I love to do Sudoku. I love Sudoku. Sit there for hours and do that. I don't know if you guys have ever played it. It's like a numbers puzzle, super fun. But things like that actually do benefit your brain. There's actually all kinds of apps now too. I used to have one. I don't think I have it on my phone anymore, where it gives you all these super fun games to play that just encourage your memory and your brain function. So it keeps your brain active and going every day. So these kind of things don't bog down and your brain doesn't stop working. So the I stands for inflammation. And oh my goodness, it's like the American problem, inflammation. It comes from the Latin word that literally means to be set on fire. So think about that when you're thinking about inflammation in your body. Everything in America right now causes inflammation. Our lifestyle, the toxins we're exposed to, just have a very negative impact on our body. And that inflammation actually starts to destroy the organs in your body, including your brain. So we really have to make sure we are being mindful of the inflammation. Genetics do play a very prominent role in Alzheimer's. They don't always cause the things, but it makes you more susceptible to them. So your lifestyle can enhance you getting things. Like things like obesity and cancer too can run genetically, but if you don't live the lifestyle that turns it on, you're not going to get it. So things like head trauma too that's the H in bright. Myself, I'm very mindful of this because I've had 3 massive concussions in high school that I saw significantly play a role in my memory and my cognitive function until I've started taking all these supplements and oils and things that have brought the clarity back. But a lot of people, if you've ever played sports or been in a car accident, you've had some form of head trauma. Toxins are huge. I'm not sure if you've ever heard the relation between heavy metal and Alzheimer's. It is 100% proven that these toxic metals leach into our brain and cause things like Alzheimer's and dementia. And so we really have to be aware of the toxins in our home. I teach a whole other class on that because it's a lot to look at, but just start reading ingredients on everything. I know Liz already is mindful of it, but just to be aware that all of these things can actually be affecting your brain. So the M stands for mental health. Anxiety, depression.
BRI. What's after I?
Head trauma. I is G, genetics.
What is G?
Genetics. And then H is head trauma. And T is toxins. And then now onto the M is mental health. Anxiety, depression, ADD, all these things are very prevalent in our society today for one reason or another. And 50% of Americans actually have some sort of mental health issue. He has proven that these kind of disorders actually affect our brain health, because the brain, and same goes for seizures, your brain is very, I don't want to say like addictive, like it knows and gets used to the things that happens to it. So anxiety, depression, those kind of things, it gets used to going there. For seizures, if you don't treat them, your brain just gets used to them and thinks that's a normal thing it should be doing. So treat the things, make sure those are not prevalent. You can use, obviously there's pharmaceuticals, but things like fish oils and other stuff are really good. And we'll cover a couple of the supplements just so you guys know what to look out for and to start incorporating. The next I is immunity and infections. So there are viruses and bacteria are just stubborn. And even if we start feeling better, a lot of these huge viruses that we've been exposed to, chickenpox, strep, mono, things like that, can actually stay in our body, and they like to attach themselves to some organ. So it's usually in your stomach or in your brain or in your spine, and they like to just hang out there, and then they wreak havoc on all the things. So make sure you're being proactive in that and analyzing if that's a problem. Neuro hormone deficiency is the N, which is just a hormone issue, which again is another problem in America. Due to all the toxin overload we get, it disrupts our endocrine system. The D is diabetes. Diabetes does actually affect your brain. 70% of Americans are overweight, 40 are obese, and Dr. Amen did this video once I saw where he gives a correlation of adding increased weight to your body actually shrinks your brain. So the more fat you gain in your body, the smaller your brain gets. The more you lose, the bigger your brain gets.
My brain's tiny.
I know. I'm like, yeah, I'm working on that, right? So be mindful of that. If you are having brain memory issues, the more excess weight you have, the more your brain shrinks. And then the S is sleep. Sleep is so important. We actually we're learning a lot more on the brain with Sophia having seizures, and the nurse, and she said the only time your brain heals is when you're sleeping. So if you're not getting adequate amount of sleep, which everybody differs, right? Not everybody needs the same amount of rest. But how you can tell is just choose a night you have nothing to do the next day and see how much your body needs to sleep before it naturally wakes up. That is how much sleep your body needs. Some is different. This guy needs like none. I need like 8 or 9. Like I could sleep 8-9 hours before I wake up. And this guy is like 5 and he's like poking me, wake up. Wake up. I want to wake up. I'm going to get it. Go.
What about when you wake up and you can't go back to sleep? What about when you wake up and you can't go back to sleep? That's my problem. Is like I'll wake up at like 2 or 3 and then I can't go back to sleep.
That's Nick's problem too. Obviously, oil, supplement, you got to learn to shut off your brain. So do meditation that gets your brain, because that's this guy. He just starts thinking about work and all of these problems. And then your brain's awake, and then your body's like, oh, I guess we'll be awake for the day. No, stop thinking, stop opening your eyes, do some meditation and prayer, and go back to sleep. Sometimes it's hormonal imbalances in your body that wake you up, so be mindful of that. But just make sure you are getting your sleep. So important, and as Americans, we just seem to be so busy. Got all the things to do. Sleep is good. I like sleep. I like my bed.
Sounds like that's where you want to go.
Oh, it's so comfy. Yeah, we slept at my sister's last night in this tiny queen bed, and we're both over 6 feet tall. Queen bed is not for us. We don't sleep very well when we go over there. So there are a lot of foods and supplements you can take, whether eating it or consuming it in supplement form. The problem with our food today is that it's been so genetically modified that it is lacking in so many vitamins and minerals. So I forget the numbers. Like an orange today, to get the amount of vitamins in orange 50 years ago, I think we would have to eat like 6 of them, because they've genetically altered them to sustain and grow more, but they didn't take into account that they were taking the nutrients out of the food. So no, eating the foods may not always do the trick for you, and you may have to start supplementing. When we start talking supplements, I always talk, of course, Young Living, because they're tried and true, tested, clean products. And bioavailability is a huge thing in supplements. So bioavailability is how much your body absorbs out of the supplements you're taking. So the supplements you buy from the grocery store, most of them are not good. Read the ingredients, they're full of a whole bunch of fillers and junk. But what you're actually absorbing out of it is a very, very minimal. So Young Living did a test, even on our own supplements, that we have a multi-grain supplement, which is just a whole bunch of greens that your body needs and your brain health needs to thrive. And after 24 hours, only 42% of that pill was absorbed into the body. When we added essential oils into it, the blood absorption increased to 64% in 30 minutes and 80% or 86% in an hour. So you are getting 86% in 1 hour versus 42% in 24. So all of Young Living's supplements have essential oils because it increases the bioavailability. So you're not peeing out and discreting all of that money you paid for the supplements that you bought, because that's annoying. Because supplements aren't cheap. Even the not so good ones aren't cheap. So you don't want to pee it back out. So there's a supplement Young Living has called MindWise. We're an allergy house, so I always give the allergy alert. It has tree nuts. If you're allergic, don't take this product, please. But there's doctors that have analyzed this, and they were like, this is the product that the multimillionaires like Bill Gates used to pay thousands of dollars to get their hands on to keep their brain functioning to the level that they need it to. Because it's full of just, I'm not going to go for all the ingredients. The majors are CoQ10. That is in a lot of products, but CoQ10 is one thing your brain needs to function. Whether you're getting it from MindWise or by itself or a different supplement, CoQ10 is something that is going to support the normal brain function, and it helps to absorb the vitamin D in your body, which we also need for good brain health. It also supports your cardiovascular system, which does what? Your blood flow. So it supports the blood flow in your body if you have a blood flow issue, to get it to your brain so your brain doesn't lack in health. Ningxia Red is another one. That's why I like, for those of you who are live, try it, because Ningxia Red plays a huge overall in our health, in our immunity, but it also plays a really good part in your brain, because those antioxidants that are in it are so good for your brain support. It's made of wolfberries, which is the family of a goji berry. Most people know what that is. It's a superfood. And it gives you a super, super antioxidant packed drink that just gives energy levels, and then it helps produce normal cells in your body, which your body needs to function. So that's why I gave it to y'all. And then when you are going to drink caffeine, because some people need caffeine, right? This guy's addicted to it. We took him off it once, and oh man, you literally go through withdrawals. Like,
It's not good.
your body is used to functioning with certain things, but we started replacing a lot of it with Ningxia Zing and Nitro, which are natural white tea that don't have that drastic effect on your body like the other caffeines do. So if you're going to drink caffeine, just make sure it's clean and good. So omega fats, oh my gosh, these are huge for your overall health, because it helps to lubricate your joints and ligaments, but for your brain health. Your brain literally cannot function without omega-3. It cannot heal. It cannot repair itself. It cannot, function at all. Like people who are having these drastic heart, mood, brain issues is a omega-3 problem. And the cool thing about Young Living's omega-3 is it has CoQ10 and vitamin D in it, which both your brain and your heart need to function. So get on a good omega, or just eat clean fish. The problem with fish, though, is so many of them are full of toxic metals because they're picking it up from the ocean and all kinds of gross things. So make sure you're getting clean sourced fish. For us, we can go fishing in the ponds and get some good fish. If you like fish, I don't eat fish. I'm allergic to seafood.
So I have a question.
What?
So that omega guys.
Yes.
So I just like ran out, and I'm not gonna order it yet because I'm gonna see. But if I should see like effects, like bad, like withdrawal effects, what should I be seeing?
You might not notice them really fast because it takes a minute for your brain to go back to the old ways. So you might see anxiety start decreasing or increasing again. You might have more mood swings. You might have memory issues, which is hard for us to tell unless you're losing things all of the time. You're going to have to ask your spouse. See if I'm not remembering things. Concentration is another huge one, that if you are having concentration issues, that's an omega problem. But again, a lot of these things, it's a time lapse. It's not overnight you're going to feel the effects of being better, and it's not overnight that you're going to feel the effects of not having it. So you can also take flaxseed. That's the vegan version that I take. Flaxseed is packed full of omegas and super good for your body. So something I always talk about too is I cannot talk brain health without talking gut health. And if you know me, I always talk gut health anyway. But there is a strong connection. It's called the gut-brain connection, that when your brain is off, your gut is off, or when your gut is off, your brain is off. If you've ever known someone who is super, super, super stressed out, has this high stress life and job, they always get ulcers because it's fully connected. But also vice versa. If you're not taking care of your gut health, you can start getting things like anxiety and depression, all of these mood disorders when your gut health is off. So taking care of your gut, taking a probiotic. But of course, Young Living has the Life 9, but a good probiotic. There's crappy supplements out there, so make sure you know what you're taking, but get probiotics in your body, as well as enzymes. They are what breaks down our food, so we're actually absorbing those nutrients from the food that our brain and our body needs. B vitamins is also a massive deficiency in people who have brain and mood issues. So if you have mood issues, most of the time the B vitamins are a problem unless something else is underlying. And then essential oils. We gotta talk oils because that's what we always talk about. I put some oils out on the table for you guys because we're going to use them in a minute. But essential oils have a really profound effect on our brain, for healing it, for bringing clarity to it, and for affecting our emotions. Some really, really great ones for your brain are lavender, rosemary. Kathy, they're up on the screen for you. Lang-a-lang, spruce, frankincense, so good for your brain. So a lot of things don't have the capability to break the blood-brain barrier, so they can't actually get into our brain. Frankincense does, and it's amazing. Oh, what do you do with frankincense? That might be one they want. Will you go? It's in Soph's room. Will you go get it for me? Frankincense is a really good one to do the next exercise with. So there's lots of oils out there to use for your brain health. Whether you're ingesting them for Young Living, I'm telling you to ingest them. I don't know what oils other people have. Know your brand before you intake it. But diffuser, put it in the diffuser, let it get in your body, put it on your brainstem. So what I'm going to teach you right now is a way to actually get oils into your brain. So we're going to use oils to learn to de-stress, learn to retrain the brain, and actually physically get them in the brain. So when we place them on certain places of our body, including our smelling, they go directly into our brain. So the really cool thing about our body is that all of our other senses, except for our sense of smell, have to go to our brain. They get processed by the methodical side of our brain. When we smell things, it bypasses that altogether. So it just goes straight to your brain and affects the emotions and balances things out. So when we're smelling and putting on essential oils, they have a physical effect on our brain, but also have that emotional impact. So when we combine them in these retraining the brain methods, it just adds that extra bonus of what your body needs to get itself on the right track. So what we're going to do is we are going to take an emotion, a thought pattern that you know you might have. So I want you to take a minute and start to think about things that affect you, that maybe it's something you know comes up a lot. Maybe it's sadness for a certain reason. Maybe it's fear for a certain reason. I always use fear as the example because that was my thing for a long time. I was fearful of speaking up. I was fearful of public speaking, of showing people my authentic self. Fear was a huge thing for me. It held me back for a long time. So I'm going to teach you how to take, and these steps are on that handout I gave you. And for everyone online there, the handout is posted in the event to get the step-by-step that we're going to do, so you can continue to do this at home. With or without essential oils, it works. Essential oils just add a next level, so you can go home and still do these things in retraining and using the thought pattern without the oils. With the oils, again, we love our oils around here, so we teach you to do everything with oils. So I want you guys to smell these and just choose one. Pick it up, feel it, smell it, see whatever works for you. Would you ready to put some on?
Yeah, frankincense.
Love it.
Frankincense is good for all the things, for the grounding, for the peace, for the brain.
It's all-encompassing.
It really is. That's why they gave it to baby Jesus. It's a baby Jesus oil. So what you're going to do is, once you find the one you like, you're going to have to go over there because you got to follow the instructions. You can sit on this. So take the oil that you like, put some in the palm of your hand, a couple of drops, and you're going to apply some to the middle of your forehead, which is, you okay over there? The middle of your forehead, like right in between your eyes, but in your, not in your eyes, don't ever put oils in your eyes, but in between on your forehead. And then you're going to put some on the point. If you touch the back of your skull, there is a bump there where your skull actual bone is. And if you apply oils to this part of your brain, it goes straight to your occipital lobe of your brain. So this is going to get into the fastest way to get into your brain stem, into your frontal lobe, into that cortex of your brain. So put that there, the 2 spots. And then I want you to do something called cupping. So you're going to take your hands, rub it together, and you're going to cup over your face. And I'm not going to do it as I talk to y'all because then you can't understand me. Hey, y'all, listen to me like this. I am Luke. I am your father. That sounds like Darth Vader. I can't understand you. But so
I think really confident.
Oh, okay. So think about, the front of your, and then the backbone in the back of your head, and then put a little in your hand so you can smell it. So I had you thinking about that negative thought that you know that you have, and now we're going to place it with the opposite emotion. So you're going to sit and you're just going to breathe, but you're going to think about that positive emotion. So for me, say mine was fear, right? I'm going to just replace it with the word love. Love is empowering and all-encompassing, and I'm just going to sit and you're going to breathe. So what you're going to do is while you breathe, you're going to plug one nostril, breathe deep, because as we do each side of these, there's different neuron pathways that sit on each side of our nose. So it's going to make sure it hits the left and then the right and then through, deep through your brain. So plug one side, breathe for a little bit with your positive thoughts. Plug the other side, breathe for a little bit, and then just sit and breathe through both nostrils and let it get into all of the neurons and the pathways into your brain. This gives direct access to the occipital frontal cortex through every point of your nose, and that is how we're going to start affecting actual part of our brain. Because remember, when I said the nose is the only part that goes straight to the brain from the outside world. So I want you to think of that positive affirmation, whether it's love or acceptance or something positive and powerful. And now we're going to learn to retrain the thought pattern. So we now know the thought, the fear, the emotion that was before. We're going to replace it with the positive. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold your hand, because now you have oils on your hands. You're going to put one on your forehead and one on your heart. And this is just going to give that energy of the plant and the oils into those spots. And you are going to repeat after me. So I'm going to tell you the sentence and then we're going to do it. So the sentence is, I choose to release the trauma behind my trapped emotion of fear, is what I'm saying, that no longer serves me in a positive and productive way. So everything we're going to say 3 times. But for the sake of us, I'm going to say it and then you guys are going to repeat it. And then we're going to say, I choose love. I believe love. I manifest love. And these are just, again, those affirmations that are going to take our brain from that point of fear and whatever negative emotion and replacing it with that positive. So close your eyes and breathe. And I want you guys to say it out loud, and we're not all going to say the same thing because we're not inserting the same emotion, right? So I choose to release the trauma behind my trapped emotion of fear that no longer serves me in a positive and productive way. So now I want you guys to repeat that. I choose to release the trauma behind my trapped emotion of fear that no longer serves me in a positive and productive way. And then I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. I believe love. I believe love. I believe love. I manifest love. I manifest love. I manifest love.
I choose happiness. I choose happiness. I choose happiness.
Now I want you guys just to sit and breathe and think. Let that positive emotion reframe that train track in your brain. So the next time that this fear or whatever negative emotion comes up, you're going to sit and say these things because it's going to make that new train track in your brain. So the next time they come up, your brain's going to go to the positive place of, this is what I choose to believe, instead of what is going on in the other side of my life. Because this world is crazy, right? It's traumatic and hurtful things happen to us all of the time. And having this ability to choose this positive action in life will help us get through the day without anxiety and depression and sadness or anger. Whatever emotion that stirs up inside of you when these things happen, your brain is going to be able to start taking that other path of, I am now choosing this love and powerful emotion that is going to serve my life, that I get to serve other people, right? Because God calls us to do amazing things, and that is to help and to serve other people. But it's really, really hard to do that when all of the chatter and negativity is going on in our head. So if we can use this technique to reframe that, we're going to step more into our purpose and to help more people. So It's written on the back of your sheet, and just do this anytime in any part. Like, you don't have to remember all of it and do all of it and do it perfectly. It's the matter of actually doing and saying the thing. So the way that we really implemented this wasn't so much for myself, but was for our oldest daughter. She's very emotional and would just break down and have all of these feelings she didn't know what to do with that would turn into anger, flailing on the floor. And I would just sit with her. And now she's kind of trained that she knows how to pick up her oils and say her affirmations herself. But I would put an oil on both of us, and we would just sit there and breathe. And for her, I didn't make her say all this stuff because she's little. We would just simply say, I choose love, I choose love, I choose love. Creating that train track and getting her brain away from that negative pattern that you would watch her spin out in. I don't know if you've ever watched someone spin out an emotion before. It's hard to recognize it in ourselves. It's really easy to see it in somebody else, where they let that one trigger of that one thing somebody said to them or they said to themselves spiral into this full out cluster of emotions they don't know what to do with. And when you're in that, it's really hard to get yourself out of it. You need help from somebody else. So as we sat there with her, it retrained her brain that now, yes, she has those moments, but I can simply say, Issa, go put on an oil, and she will go sit and do it now before it gets to that. She would flail on the floor at 7 years old, like a toddler, like a 2-year-old, because she just didn't know what to do with all of the emotion, or she'd just start bawling and crying. And she still has those moments, and we recognize them. And I'm just like, Issa, go put on some oils. Sometimes I have to go get them and put them on her when she's already in that state of, I call it woes me. Woes me. Because that's what it feels like. You just feel like you're in this turmoil of inner negative reflection that you can't get out of. So this really helps to pull you into a safe space where you feel loved and secure. I have scripture that goes to a lot of it if you want empowering thought along with scripture. I have a handout for that if you want it, but just learn to reframe thoughts, get them moving in emotion that is going to benefit you and keep you in that positive, safe space where you feel comforted and loved. And you see, it's easy, right? Or it's simple. It's not easy. It's really, really simple to do this, to sit and be like, okay, stop, breathe, put on your oils, say the things, hi, Miss Daisy, and make it happen. But you have to make it a habit. You have to make sure. So like, take a picture of it and put it on your phone, or hang it in your bedroom or somewhere where you know these negative thoughts continually pop up for you. So you see it and you're reminded, oh, I need to do this instead of letting me go here. Or you have it on hand for your kids, for when those, or your husband. I put oils and do things to him all the time.
All the time.
The other night he was trying to go to bed and I was doing this emotional cleansing, clearing. I was like, you need to do this too. Just sit there. And I did all the things to him while he was laying there. Because we just need the help sometimes. So if you need help from me, call me in that time and I'll walk you through this and tell you what to do and say it alongside you. But just continuously make this the habit, and it's going to change so much. We've seen it in myself and our daughter. She's a totally different kid. She also has brain damage, so we've done a lot of this stuff to actually heal her brain. I wish we could see it and see like how much it has actually changed, but I don't want all that radiation in here to make that scan happen. It just is a profound, and for those of us who are believers, we put God into all of it, right? We sit and pray and ask for his strength and help as we sit through this and do this, to get our worldly self in a place where we just feel like we can breathe instead of crazy and spinning out. Because we've all been there and it doesn't feel good. So that's all I got. I taught you all the things. Unless you have questions. Kathy always has questions.
I don't have questions. I just we used longevity, and 3 drops is a lot. Holy crap.
3 drops is a lot of everything.
Just know your body and know your space. Like if it's a potent oil, just put 1 little drop and then take that drop and put it in the places. I always tell people, use your intuition and listen to your body, because I can tell you all of these things and what oil to use and what to do, but your intuition and Holy Spirit will lead really where it needs to go. We'll tell you what
I need
oil
like a
up.
scale on the bottle.
A
Like,
scale? Did you say a scale?
okay, it comes out super slow or comes out super fast, and
For the
to let you know
viscosity?
how it comes
Yeah.
out.
So some oil